Hi, this is Ed Downs at Aberco Incorporated, manufacturer of Piemaster turnover machines and dough rollers. This is the third tutorial in a series explaining the operation, maintenance, and safety of the Piemaster Model SA21. Real quick correction from the last video, video number 2. When I was referring to the components in the knife box here to my right, I referred to Doyon and Speed Air is manufacturing these actuators. Doyon is a bakery machine company up in Canada that I deal with, and I got their name in my head and confused it with Dayton. Dayton, if you buy Granger products, you're familiar with Dayton. Dayton and Speed Air. So anyway, sorry for any confusion that caused any. So anyways, in this tutorial, we're going to cover the other systems that the electro-pneumatic system operates and controls. That would be the fill system, the knife, the turnover portion, and the water sprayer and the conveyor. So we'll start back here with the knife inside the knife box and run through these as quickly as I can. So in the knife box, as we saw in the second tutorial, there's these two actuators that operate the knife back and forth. They're tied together with this plate right here, and you can, when there's no pressure on the machine, you can operate it back and forth manually, and it slides the knife back. The filling comes out, and then when the time is expired, the knife closes, cutting off the filling. The knife shaft is supported by these two springs and this strap up here, and then this smaller bracket down here keeps the knife in position. The knife adjustment is probably the most critical thing you can on this machine that you have to keep correct. If the knife is out of adjustment, you can damage the orifice under here where the filling comes out, and you can damage this knife blade, which is a very expensive piece. I believe they're over $300 now for these knife blades. I'll show you a sample. This is a blade that came off of a machine that has pretty well been destroyed. What happens is when you're installing the hopper onto the machine, there's a method to do that. And sometimes when the hopper is being placed on the machine, they hit the front of the knife with the hopper. So it does take a little bit of skill, plenty of attention, and a little bit of strength. You need a strong enough person to be able to handle the hopper comfortably and install it without damaging that knife. Once they're hit like that and dented, they really can't be salvaged. It would cost just as much to try and repair it as it would to just make a new one. So we'll get into the knife adjustment in another video. At this point, I'm going to bring up the number one safety feature of this machine also is that knife. I will tell you, like I tell everyone else when I install these machines, that you need to treat that knife like a running chainsaw. It is razor sharp, and it will cut through you as easily as it will meat filling or anything else. When you remove the hopper, which we'll show in another video, that knife is exposed, and there is a guard that goes on it. And as soon as the hopper is removed, the guard needs to be placed over the knife immediately. It is a incredibly sharp knife. I'll say it over and over again from here forward to remind you every time that that knife can be very dangerous. It is also 100% safe if you follow the practices that I'll tell you and you treat it like a running chainsaw. You'll be fine. You wouldn't set down your running chainsaw with it running and walk off and go to lunch. So you wouldn't walk away with this knife exposed without shutting the machine down and putting the guard on it. And everything will be fine. So we just need to make sure we adhere to those practices, and we'll go over those in more detail. So the knife is a two-piece shaft that has a coupler here that you can change that blade out as you need to, and you can also make adjustments here for how far forward the knife is on the shaft or how far back it is. Inside here, it comes through this guide that's got a bushing in it, and there's lock screws on either side. So once you get your setting, how far you want it to go, correct, it's all locked in. So it's held up by that spring. It comes through this guide, and then it's locked in to this plate and the two actuators that actuate it. Now inside the end of this shaft, there's a magnet. And inside this bracket right here is a reed switch. If you're not familiar with reed switches, here's one right here. That is a reed switch. That is a reed switch. It is the kind of switch you see in your older style and some newer style security systems in your house, in your windows and doors. There's a reed switch. There's two little metal reeds in there, and they're encapsulated in gas in a glass case. And when the magnet gets within proximity of the switch, it closes the two reeds. And the two reeds, as you can see, there's the wire that comes out the back of them. It heads down to the bridge and then off to the computer. That magnet making that switch is what sends the signal for the transmission to start. The transmission to start turning the auger to deposit the filling. When the timer runs out, the switch is opened and the knife will close. Air is ported to the closed side of the actuators and closes it. So when the operator pushes the buttons, the actuator comes back, and when the magnet gets within proximity, it sends a signal to turn the transmission to start depositing the filling. When the timer runs out, air is ported to the closed side. The magnet pulls away, opens the reed switch, which stops the auger from turning and depositing the filling. Slick little system, been around a long time. I actually read about reed switches once. I thought they were really curious, and they were invented in the 1920s. They fail sometimes in a very short period of time, and other times they last a long time. So we'll give you a couple extra ones with your spare parts kit with the machine. Your local security company, electronics store should carry those. They're a couple of dollars a piece. They're very expensive. And like I said, I've had some that fail, within a month or two for whatever reasons, I don't know. And then other ones will go for years. They're relatively reliable though. The one thing that I know will fail them, when you adjust this knife, when it comes back, if you adjust it too far and that end of that shaft hits that reed switch, remember I said that those reeds are encapsulated in glass. And if you hit that reed switch with the end of that shaft with the force that comes back, you'll shatter that glass in there and the switch is broken. I have a feeling that's been the case on a lot of failed reed switches. I don't know that. I wasn't there to see it, but I have a feeling that's what causes some of the failures that I hear from customers. The switch is adjustable back and forth so you can get its proximity. I'll tell you right now, when this shaft comes back about halfway, it closes that reed switch from that far away. So before the knife is fully open, before the knife is fully retracted, the auger starts turning. So as soon as that knife opens up that orifice, there's filling coming out. So that's what makes the cycle go so fast. So okay, I'll go over that again real quick. Operator pushes the button. Air is ported to the retract side of the actuators. The knife comes back. As it comes back, the magnet closes the reed switch. The reed switch sends a signal for the auger to start turning and filling to start coming out. That's the basic function of this. As far as any maintenance goes, routine stuff, there's nothing that you need to do in here. All this stuff is very robust, lasts a long time. Again, the knife adjustment is a daily check. You don't have to adjust it every day, but you need to verify it every day. And we'll go over that, how we do that in another video. So that's basically the knife function. Since we're inside this box, we'll go over the water sprayer. Pretty straightforward. Outside here, there's a filter, potable water come in. This is a quick disconnect, so you don't have to unscrew the hose every time. You can just pop it off and leave the other end on the hose. Filter comes in. There's a solenoid here and a valve. I'm going to get over this side. There's a solenoid there and a valve. This is tied into the fill timer. So as soon as the auger starts turning to deposit the filling, this opens, water comes up through here into this little spray nozzle over here. and it sprays the edge of the dough while it's depositing filling. As soon as the fill cycle runs out, the fill timer ends, the water will stop spraying as well. It's a very fine mist, so you'll get the edge of the dough nicely moistened, so it'll help you seal if you need it. I only have a couple of customers that actually need that feature. Some customers that have had dough, when they make them by hand, that they've had to seal them, they don't have to with this machine, that the pressure in the molds is enough that they don't need the water sprayer. But I have a few that still use it, and it's nice to have, especially if you're frying your pies, because you know if a pie opens up in your fryer, what that does. The water filter we just put on here with a stainless steel clamp and a couple of cable ties, because that almost always gets relocated. Customers have setups where they already have filtered water in their whole bakery, or they want to put the filter closer to the source of the water. So this almost always gets moved. So we don't make it a real permanent kind of attachment. If you want to add a couple of a stainless steel clamp down here instead of these cable ties to make it more permanent right there, that's fine. So to change the filter out, you have to unscrew the brass fittings and screw them into the new filter. So that's why sometimes people like to put it at a different location, so it's also easier to change. So we're going to end this tutorial now. It's getting a little longer than I wanted, and we will pick up the other systems on the machine in the next tutorial. Thank you.